Hello everyone, this video is on manifestation. I was asked to do this, and so let's see what gets channeled. And it's really interesting because being a Siddha, I work from very deep levels of meditation, and when you think a thought at that deep level of meditation, it does create a manifestation, a very positive one. Because siddhas, when they do this meditation, they can lower hospital admissions. They can reduce the crime rate, and the governments use siddhas to go into war zones and different places to create something known as super radiance and peace and harmony in the atmosphere. And during lockdown, I had a group of siddhas that used to meet twice daily to do group program online. And it still seemed to work online. So maybe the vibe's so high that when siddhas just put their attention on doing program together, that beautiful meditation program, there is a super radiant effect in the atmosphere. And this isn't woo-woo, this is backed by science. Siddhar's brains are studied by science. The meditation groups are studied, and it's statistically significant, and it's pretty undeniable now. But it may be just too much for some people, but probably if you're watching this, then it won't be. So when we think a thought at a very deep level, it's like an atomic bomb. But if we're not thinking a thought from a very deep level, then it doesn't have the same super radiant effect. And so when we want to manifest something, the best way to manifest is to learn how to think at a very deep level. And when we start to transcend and to go very deep and to become familiar with that meditative state, our desires change anyway, so what we would want to manifest might change. Because sometimes when we desire from a surface level, our desires can be graspy. They can be like, I want to have a Ferrari, I want to have a hot woman, I want to have $1 million in the bank account. And that's fine. We're here to enjoy life. But none of that's going to give you the same amount of happiness as moving beyond it and then coming back out with that cosmic intelligence, having moved beyond it, and then going in the Ferrari, and then looking at the beautiful man or woman, and then, sharing your wealth and enjoying your wealth. It's a very different way to manifest. It's first return back to who you truly are beyond all of the stuff in the relative world, and then come out and enjoy everything in the relative world. And you enjoy it way more because you're not grasping onto it, because you're not insecure if you don't have it. It's coming from, I am enough, and anything else is just icing on the cake. And also, the bliss that you can feel, the celestial feelings and emotions, and the bliss that you can feel that bubbles up from that transcendental realm cannot compete with anything in the relative world anyway. So the graspiness goes away. But it's important to desire, we're here in life, and to fulfill one's desires. But if we're fulfilling desires out of insecurity, then it's not going to lead to lasting happiness. It may give us temporary happiness, but it's not going to be lasting. It's going to be fleeting, and we're always going to need the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, because we get bored easily in the relative world. So the very desire to want to manifest actually comes from a deeper part of us that wants to return home, that knows that there is something intangible that's going to bring us happiness, and then we mistake it for the car, for the hot chick, for the hot guy, for the fame, or whatever it might be. And some of us are very lucky to maybe have got into a life situation where we had the hot chick or the hot guy, or we got famous, or we had millions in the bank, and then realized, oh, it didn't work. And that's a blessing, um, because you tick that box and you realize, oh, I'll have to try something else. But there is a comfort that comes with being able to afford things. However, there can also be a discomfort that comes with being able to afford things and have a lot of opportunities that isn't really talked about. Because if you manifest a lot of stuff, you only have a certain amount of time to enjoy it. So if you have 100 shoes, you only can wear one pair of shoes at a time. If you had 100 cars, you can only drive one at a time. 100 women or guys, well, maybe, you could have a big orgy, but it's still superficial. It's not going to give you the lasting happiness. But it is part of a journey that some of us go on, where we think that we're going to be happy if we're rich and famous and dating somebody hot and able to buy a yacht, and everybody around is thinking we're amazing. But it also can be very time consuming and distracting. And it's like threading a needle. I said in another video that it's so distracting if we have all this stuff going on that we're focusing on the car, the girl, the finances, or whatever it might be that we want to manifest, and we miss the place that's actually going to lead to lasting happiness. And so that can be a distraction for some people. And I know there's a lot of people online that offer ways to manifest things fast, and maybe that's good because you'll just realize, oh, there's an endless supply of neediness within being a human monkey, that it's never going to be satisfied. So there's that. And also, we generally just want to have an easier time of it. We also might want to manifest because we're bored, or because we care too much about what other people think, or we're insecure about just being who we are without all of the other attachments. But I really do want people to have desires and to have the desires fulfilled. That's part of the embodiment. The biggest desire underlying every other desire is the desire to know oneself. And even though we might chase other things, it actually comes from that root desire that I'm trying to find something. I know that there is something. I know that I'm able to feel greater levels of bliss and happiness. And so there is an intelligence that drives that desire. And then if we're lucky, we can fall upon it accidentally for some people. I say that being a meditation teacher or a person who meditates makes you accident prone. You're more likely to fall into that intelligent space where you get it, where you understand how powerful you are beyond the stuff, and then are able to manifest. But you don't need to manifest. So there's that. What else is coming through today? Yes. Sometimes we're manifesting when we don't think we're manifesting. Because when things go negative in our lives, we always assume, I didn't want that. I didn't manifest that. My marriage fell apart. I didn't want that to happen. Or I got sick. I didn't want that to happen. Or I lost that business deal. I didn't want that to happen. So we then think there's something wrong with us and we are no good at the law of attraction, or we're bad manifestors. And there's a misunderstanding in that because we're always connected to a cosmic intelligence that's designing our life and manifesting things to teach us deep, 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 deep lessons. And before we take our bodies, we might have a theme that we want to explore in this human body in this lifetime. So if I want to explore a theme, I'll give you an example of unconditional love, then maybe there are breakups in this life, but I eventually learn unconditional love through all of the drama in that. Or if I, for example, want to learn the impermanence of things and have that deeper understanding, then maybe I start to lose things. And I originally clung to what I was losing and then learned to let go and be okay without having that thing, and understood that everything's passing in the relative world. But there is a part of me that doesn't move, that is unchanging. And then you say, well, that's no fun. I don't want to be here because it's too painful and I don't want these life lessons. But a deeper part of you values the lesson more than the discomfort. And so through living, we automatically start to connect to that deeper part of ourselves, our ego and what we think we want and what culture tells us is appropriate, or what we're brainwashed into thinking is okay, may not be congruent with what our higher self knows and wants. But always ask, who's in charge? So when things are happening in your life that you disagree with, that you didn't want to manifest, that maybe make you disappointed or angry with other people or your ability to manifest, who's in charge? And just let go and know that when we zoom out of that little moment of disappointment and the surrounding circumstances into a much greater timeline, it's a blessing. Everything that comes into your life is an opportunity to learn who you are, to move beyond it, and is a lesson. Nature never wastes anything. Everything is valuable. Everything can be transmuted into higher states of consciousness. Everybody is always manifesting in every moment, and everything that is manifested is used. Nothing is wasted. So you're always evolving. You can't not evolve. If you get disappointed in the process and you extricate yourself out of that disappointment, you will, through that extrication process, uplift yourself in humanity and rise up to a new platform of awareness. So don't get frustrated with yourself and don't get frustrated with other people. And nobody's doing better than anyone else. Nobody's a better manifester than anyone else. Who's in charge? Maybe nature is manifesting a lot for a person whose life looks like it's falling apart. Maybe the goddess with all of her weapons, you know, you have the Indian goddesses, they have swords, they're like that, they can be quite interesting to look into because each has a symbol attached to it. What does the goddess do? She uses her weapons to remove ignorance. And so she performs cosmic surgery on individuals. And she can be performing cosmic surgery on somebody whose life seems to be falling apart. And so she isn't wrathful. She is connected to what your higher being, what your higher self wants. And she merges with that because there is no difference between her and who your higher self is. And I say her, it could be he, it, whatever you want. It's just metaphorical. They're just descriptors. And so whatever works for you, works for you. So know that you can't get it wrong and you're always evolving and you're always manifesting. And if things that you've manifested you didn't want and you're upset about, or it's causing discomfort in your life, there's information in that. There's information in what you're manifesting. And so just take it easy, take care of your physiology, because we're more able to manifest when we manifest what is evolutionary for everyone when we take care of our bodies, because whatever we manifest is enjoyed through the senses in the body. And so meditation is a very good way to prepare the body to remove stresses from the body so that it can enjoy the manifestation that is life. Because when you meditate, everything can be delightful. I've had funny experiences when I've gone to Home Depot, the home goods store, after doing a very long meditation and being in such a blissful state and just picking up a paintbrush and looking at the paintbrush and just being in ecstasy looking at a paintbrush. Sometimes that happens. You can get a little blissed out and it integrates it, and it's fine because these blissful states, they come and they go. They are impermanent. They do integrate into your physiology and stay for longer as we meditate more, and this intelligence and stillness is always available once we've established a meditation practice that maybe we've been doing for a while. It just seems to stabilize, and then there's stillness and activity. And then some of you think, well, that's all right for you. I haven't experienced that kind of bliss in meditation. Keep going and find a meditation practice that is effortless. Manifestation is effortless. Just gently putting your attention on what you would like without needing it to happen is like planting a seed that grows automatically when you're not putting your attention on it, just because it gets support of nature and the seed grows into a big, big tree. We don't need to smash our desires into reality. You can swim across a body of water with weights on and you'll still get there. You'll be exhausted and you might drown, and then you might tell a story to everyone. I nearly drowned, but I got this and it was difficult. And everybody will clap and go, wow, and try and copy you. And then maybe you'll have plaques put up of how difficult it was for you, but you did it. Or you can just take the weights off and swim across. There's not really a story to tell anybody in that, but it is possible. And when we learn to transcend, when we learn to move beyond all of this nonsense, there is no effort required. And if you're efforting, if you're pushing, then whatever you're desiring will move further away from you. So whatever you grasp will want to break free from your grasp. And that's just the way the universe works, because that's non-evolutionary. Holding on to something is not evolutionary. We're designed to let go. And if we let go, then things can come towards us. I have cats, so I know this. If you force them to come and sit on your lap, they'll jump off. But if you let go, they'll just come. So they teach that lesson. And it can be tricky sometimes because we really desire, but then there's information. If there's grasping, there's information in the emotions around the grasping, that those stresses may need to be dissolved and looked at. And so you may want to allow that discomfort to be there without changing it, knowing it's going to go away in its own time. And so I am praying that we all rise up to a new platform of awareness where our desires are aligned with our higher self, and we desire not only what is good for the individual, but what is good for everyone. And when we desire from that place where we're looking for the good of everyone, it gets more of nature's support anyway, and it leads to lasting happiness. So that is my prayer for today. Thank you.